Hi, I'm Dave.
I'm Carrie. This is Rudel, and we are one adventure at a time.
We've been traveling full-time in our self-converted van since 2018.
Yes. Today we want to talk to you about what it's like traveling with a pet full-time. Now we have some really exciting guest appearances in this video. Some fellow nomads and travelers are going to share some really good information with you today.
Yep.
So first, let's introduce you to Rudel. Rudel, look. Sit. Yeah.
Rudel is a lion.
Rudel is a Labradoodle.
Oh, okay.
He's a first-generation Labradoodle. Come here, sit. His mom was a chocolate lab, and his dad was an apricot poodle.
He's 4 years old.
Yep, he was born in California. He's a California boy. Down. And right now his parents have him cut to look like a lion. So we say he's a lion doodle. And he's definitely the star of the show. Rudel, turn around. Come on. Turn around. Turn around. Come here. Come here. Turn around. Sit. Sit. Things that Rudel loves.
A ball. He likes water, he likes sand, he likes snow. He's a really happy dog all the time.
He loves fishing. If we see anybody fishing, he has to be on a leash because he will go and chase the lure or get the fish. Boy, he is very rambunctious today. Going to get his ball. So we just want to share a little bit with you about when we first started, some of the troubles we had with Rudel adjusting, and some of the things that we've learned along the way that have made life a little bit easier for us and for Rudel.
When we first started on the road, Rudel was having a hard time adjusting, and we had this platform that we built just for him with the dog bed on it, thinking that he was going to stay right in between us.
Yeah, and that didn't really do the trick. He still shivered and was uncomfortable, and no matter what we did, he just wanted to be in our lap, which he's a big dog, and that didn't work, and then...
Yeah, so we knew we had to do something.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, we pulled out of a gas station onto a street. We're only doing about 5 miles an hour. We're just starting to get going. And all of a sudden, Rudel pushed the gear shifter all the way into reverse, from drive to reverse. He just smashed into it.
Yeah.
And we came to a screeching halt.
Middle of the street.
Killed the motor. People were behind us.
They came to see if we were okay.
Yeah. Thankfully, we didn't do any harm to the vehicle since we were going so slow, I assume.
Yeah. So that's when we knew right then and there that he cannot be between us. So then we moved him to the couch, but that didn't work either because he wouldn't stay there. So finally we moved him to the bed where he is now. And he seems more comfortable there. I think it's a small area, so it kind of feels like it's a cocoon, and that's where he rides when we're traveling.
So we did learn that we had to put a harness on him and attach a leash to that harness to keep him from sliding forward off the bed if we have to hit the brakes in emergency. We soon learned that having Rudel on the bed wasn't super safe. Every time I tapped the brakes, especially in a emergency kind of situation where I had to hit him pretty hard, he would slide off the bed and end up all the way in the dash. And we were worried that he was going to injure himself. So we went ahead and got this harness, and we harnessed him in. Come on, Rudel. Get up. Get up. Good boy. Good boy. And then we clip him in with this leash right here that's secured to a solid anchor spot. Get back. Come on. Get back. Come on. There you go. Come on. There you go. Good boy. Good boy. So he still has the whole bed to move around, but we don't have to worry about him shifting and end up getting hurt on the floor.
Hi. Now this did take a little bit of trial and error because we first had it just a little bit too long where he could get down, and that didn't work out too well, did it? The other thing that we really like about this, if we have an emergency or we have to get out of the van quickly, he's already got his harness on, so we have him controlled. So this just makes life a lot easier for everybody involved.
I feel like he's actually happier that he has the leash on.
Yes. I think it's a safety thing.
Yep.
He feels like he's safe. I know, it's a little hot. You want a treat? And he knows where his treats are. Good boy. Now, when we were in Quebec, we did a van tour on this couple who have a little dog, and they designed their van all around their dog, and I think they did it right. And they built a crate in their van, which I think is what Rudol's kind of feeling when he's in his bed and confined. He feels like that's a safe place. So take a look at Mighty Van and see what they did for their dog.
Hi, we are Miriam
and Tanguy
and Philibert, and we are Mighty Van. So we started our build about a year ago, and we've been in the van full-time with the dog since March 2020.
That's right. So the first thing we had in mind when we started designing our layout was this guy, Philibert. And so we've built our van around his needs. So welcome to our van. As we mentioned, our main concern when we started drawing our layout was the safety of our dog. We wanted him to feel safe when we were driving, but also when we were away from the van. When we were living in an apartment, he was already crate trained, so we thought it would be a great idea to incorporate a crate in our build. And this is the first thing we did. This bench right here is Philibert's Palace.
So we decided to buy a crate and not make it ourselves, because actually we can remove it. And that one is great because it has 2 doors. And depending on how we use the van, we can open one or the other for him. And as you can see, the crate goes up to here, but we extended it in order for him to have more storage for his toys. And we added a stand for the water and the food that is also accessible from the top. So for us, it's easy to access and see if he has enough water or food. Plus, we wanted the bench a bit longer, so everything Philibert related is in the storage.
We also installed a security camera inside the crate. That way we can keep an eye on him when we're away from the van, and we can also watch him when we're driving to make sure he's safe, and if he's ever making noise, then we can get alerts and see what's going on.
So this crate is perfect. It's storage, it's a bench. It's also a way for us to attach the dog when he's wandering around the van when we're outside. And it's everything we needed in order to feel safe for him when we drive. Nothing is falling on him or anything. And feel safe also when we're away, because we know he's in a safe place that he knows and he's used to it.
Right now it's about 85 degrees outside, so it's already pretty warm. We don't let Rudel stay in the van if it's over 80 degrees without at least someone being in here with him. And that limits us to only being able to stay in cooler type of temperatures, which I like anyway. So if Rudel's in the van and it's even warm outside, the first thing that we know we have to do is get some ventilation going. So what I do is I just take our insulator out of the fan. We got a fantastic fan back here. Open it up and turn it on. And this one here is going to suck cool air down on top of him. And then the front, I'm going to go ahead and turn on the exhaust fan so he's got a nice wind tunnel keeping fresh air and cool air coming into the van. We also pretty much make a fort out of the van. We use Reflectix on the front window because that is where most of the heat's going to come from. We do have insulation in our ceiling and our wall, which helps out a lot, but we really need the Reflectix in the window. And if it is hot, he's not going to stay in here by himself. I'm going to go out, take him for a walk until we get back in the van and start driving, and then we're going to turn the AC on. He's already looking more comfortable.
The next thing I want to talk about is veterinary care. Now, when we hit the road, we got a copy from our vet, every record that Rudel has had for every appointment. And as we've stopped along the way, we've gotten paper records so that we can keep these in our file. And it looks like Rudel is actually due for his rabies this next month, which is a really important tip. You want to keep your rabies vaccination up to date, especially if you're traveling. You never know, something might happen. He might bite another dog might bite him. And if they come to check and you don't have a rabies check, there might be a chance that they will quarantine your dog. We don't want that to happen, so we always keep him up to date on his rabies. Now, our friends at No Matter Where Van have an even better tip on where to get their dog's pet care at. Check it out.
Hey guys, I'm Jessie.
I'm Bill.
And this is Sedona. And we are
No Matter Where Van. It's awesome having a little road companion because they're nothing but love and they are full of adventure just like we are.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
And she's basically like our child, so we treat her as such. So here's a few tips or tricks, if you will. So number one, because we travel so much, we don't have a fixed local vet that we go to if something was to arise with Sedona, health-wise, or her just up-to-date shots, things of that nature. So we found that PetSmart also has, in certain locations, they have hospitals inside, which is called Banfield. And they're located throughout the whole United States, which is pretty convenient for us, that if we're anywhere in the United States, it's pretty easy for us to find a PetSmart with a Banfield inside. And another thing with that is if we do go to a Banfield, all her paperwork is basically in the computer. So if we go to another state and something arises, all her paperwork is in their computer, which is pretty great. We don't have to hold on to all that paperwork. Tip number 2.
Booties. Get your dog booties. Because you never know where you're going to be. And if you're boondocking in, say, like the desert or something like that, there's going to be a lot of like cactus and stuff. Also, if you're hiking in some of these places, you might start early, but by the end of the day, the ground gets really hot. So we got her some booties from Roughwear. It's actually got Vibram soles on them and everything. She does walk really goofy the first like 2 minutes that you put them on.
It's really funny.
It is super funny. And they're really stylish too. They're cool.
Yeah.
Vibram soles.
And so those are made by Roughwear. They are a little pricey, but they've actually lasted us quite a long time. I think we've had them for about 4 or 5 years now. So
yeah.
for the investment, it's worth it. You're getting something that you would actually put on your feet.
Yeah, it's totally worth it. I mean, these guys are worth anything, honestly. We couldn't agree more with No Matter Where Van about the booties. Riddle's had his booties for about 3 years now. They're made by the same company, Roughwear. They've been holding up great. We have found many uses for them, whether it be hot pavement or in the desert where there's cactus. Riddle likes to step on every cactus he can find. We've been on hiking trails that have obsidian on them, which is natural glass, so it saved his feet from getting cut. And one time, after a long day of driving, we went boondocking in a location and let Rudel out the door. We didn't survey the scene, check for hazards, and he cut his foot on a piece of glass. So lesson learned there is now we survey the scene. If there is a lot of glass, we make sure he has his booties on. Oh, good boy. Good job. Yep, you got your boots on. You got your boots on.
Speaking of when Rudel cut his foot, we were really happy to have a little bit of dog first aid on hand. So that's a tip. You make a first aid for yourself, but also make one for the dog. Now, I will say, I encourage you to talk to your vet and discuss what your dog can and cannot have. Here's just a few items that we keep on hand. Rudel's a Labradoodle. He loves to swim, so of course we got to have some air solution. We always carry Benadryl. Rudel hates bees, and one of these times he's going to get stung. I would even use this if he got bit by a snake. I would still go to the vet, but I would use this. Again, please talk to your vet about what you should have. I prefer NexGard, but we could only get Canine Advantage on the road at the time. So this is flea and tick medication and a pair of some kind of device to get ticks out. Now I will go over a whole video just dedicated to flea and tick next week. But if you're on the road and you're outdoors, it's not if you get a tick, it's when you get a tick and how many ticks you might get. Right, Riddle? So it's really good to have a basic first aid kit in the van for your dog. Rudel has his own box, he has his own space dedicated just for him.
We wanted to talk a little bit about what sacrifices that we've had to make because we have a pet with us.
Yeah.
First of all and foremost is the amount of dirt you have in your van or vehicle is going to be way higher. We're constantly shaking out the blankets and brooming the floor clean.
Brooming the floor clean?
Brooming the floor clean.
Okay. We're sweeping the floor
Sweeping
clean.
the floor clean. And going to the laundromat extra amount of times.
Washing the bedding extra for sure.
Yep.
So as you can see here, we have a brown blanket on the bed. That's just because of Rudel, to try to help keep some of the dirt off.
Yep, that's his blanket.
Yeah.
Other sacrifices have been excursions and national parks. Pretty much, if it's not a dog-friendly excursion or park, we just decided not to go.
Yeah. That's been kind of a bummer at some points.
Yeah.
Like in Bryce Canyon, we wanted to do some of the trails, but we couldn't leave Rudel in the van.
Yeah, and we prefer to have Rudel with us anyway, so.
Yeah.
Staying in a cooler climate. So I don't really like hot climates anyway, so that's not really much of a sacrifice for me. But we tend to stay in cooler areas. We don't have as much flexibility to go to the hot or warm areas.
Yeah. I mean, it can be done. It just takes extra planning.
Yeah.
You can hire pet sitters and so forth. But another sacrifice that we deal with is going to the vet. So even though we have all of Rudel's pet records with us, it has been a challenge. Some of them can't get us in for weeks. Now in Minnesota, we did spend an extra 3 weeks just so we could go back to the one vet because all the vets in the area couldn't get us in for like 8 weeks.
Yeah.
So that has been a challenge. So we're excited to try out Banfield like No Matter Where Van said. So when we get a chance, we're going to see if we can set that up.
Another thing to consider is how big your dog is. Now, Rudel, we had before the whole idea of van life, so he's grandfathered in. But he's a rather large dog. This is only 72 square feet of room, and so
Yes.
it's like having an extra person.
Yeah, Rudel is 75 pounds, so he takes up his fair share of space.
He does.
So our friends at Love Hut for Life have some good advice. Before you get into this lifestyle and you're thinking about a pet, think about what you need.
Hi, I'm Shane.
I'm Kelsey,
And
and this
that's
is Dixie,
Dixie.
and we're Love Hut for Life.
The three of us have been living in the Love Hut for going on 7 months now. We've had Dixie for 11 years, so she's a major part of our life, so going on the road without her just wasn't a thing. If you're looking to adopt a dog or bring your dog with you, be aware that it does change your trip. So there's times you can't do things that you might necessarily want to do because you have another person in your party. So going inner city and doing things like that become a bit challenging. You know, you don't want to leave your dog in the house or in your van, RV, whatever it is, for an extended period. Fortunately, she is tiny and very comfortable in our house, so we do get to go to restaurants and enjoy things like that. But be aware, it does change your adventure. You're going to be bound outdoors, which is not a bad thing at all. It is what we set out to do.
That is definitely true, but I would never advise against taking your dog on the road because the lifestyle that we live out in the desert or in the mountains or in the trees or wherever we happen to be that week is undoubtedly enhanced by the love of this tiny little creature that we definitely don't deserve. I will say though, if you're looking to adopt a dog for this lifestyle, you might want to go with something a little more conducive to outdoor living.
Dixie's very fancy and she likes soft surfaces and napping a lot, so hikes and things like that. She fits in a backpack well, so we will put her in there.
Yeah, but she doesn't do the physical exercise for long distances. So if that's your deal, definitely make sure you go with a larger dog. But other than that, we absolutely adore her and couldn't be happier living on the road. We do make certain changes for her in the truck. She has her own little bed, so she's nice and comfy while we're driving. And then she, of course, has her surfaces, toys, and a little food and water area inside the house, just to make it feel like it's her house too.
We just mentioned and talked about a few sacrifices that we've had to make to have a pet with us, and these are super small, and any pet owner, I think, would agree that it's totally worth having your pet with you along the journey.
Yep, wouldn't phase you for anything. Nope. I did want to make one last safety observation. When we're out boondocking, we don't let Rudel out at night unless he's on a leash, because he will chase whatever he sees. Yep. And I don't want to be traipsing around the woods at night. Who knows where he'll end up.
We want to give a huge thank you out to No Matter Where Band, Mighty Band, and the Love Hut for Life. We really appreciate your guys' help and content with this video.
Now stick around, there's going to be some extra footage, some funny dog videos, and some pictures of all of our furry friends. If you have any helpful tips or comments that we should know about that we haven't learned yet, please leave them in the comments below. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next week.
So stock up on lots of balls. And if you don't have balls, there are plenty of sticks out in the woods. Oh.
Sedona likes balls. But then that sounds really weird too. Big girl high five. Yeah.
Oh, you gonna sing?
I'm gonna sing.
You gonna sing?
If you would like to support our channel, please consider becoming a patron, or check out our new merchandise at oneadventureatatime.com. We also have stickers available in our website store. Thank you for watching.